A stretch of riverside that's not in flood. But here next door is a football club where the gathering torrents are threatening to submerge the manager. These are uncomfortable times for the one-time captain Marble. £78 million spent in 6.5 years, but still no consistent success. If Brian Robson could have hand-picked today's opponents, he would not have chosen Arsenal. Robson's response to 4 defeats in a row is to change both shape and personnel. Out go Caramber, Fester, Gordon and 3-5-2, replaced by a back 4 and recalls for Cooper, Stamp and Dean. Plenty of other big names are still injured. Hamilton Rickard is looking to add to his 4 goals in 3 meetings with Arsenal last season. There's no point comparing the visitors' lineup with the side that lost to Ipswich in the League Cup, because there are no common elements. The notable absentees are Seaman, Pires and Bluzny, all injured, but Tony Adams plays, 17 years to the weekend since his debut, and John Lukic, 5 weeks short of reaching the stage where life allegedly begins, plays his 300th game for Arsenal, also 17 years after his first. Andy D'Urso is in charge of proceedings. Arsenal in their change kit today. They won on their first 4 visits to the Riverside Stadium, but have lost their last 2. You may recall that 2 years ago they won here and scored 6 in the process, including a wonderful back heel by Kanu, who today starts on the bench for Arsenal. Wheeler. Colin Cooper. Rickard. Watching some wrestling with Lee Dixon, or Dixon with him. And put behind by Tony Adams. Whelan to take. Headed away by Lee Dixon. Well might he hold his head. This corner is as well delivered as the last. Middlesbrough are in with a chance. Alistair again. Under more pressure that time. But the first opportunity that came his way was a good one. And a clean header had Lukic beaten, but Arsenal always put a man on either post. And that was what thwarted Middlesbrough's veteran centre-back. Great applause for the winning of the tackle by Somerville, and then the foul by Dixon. Andy Campbell that's been brought down, and you can see Andy D'Urso just saying calm down. Reasonably blatant though by Dixon. Four bricks in the Arsenal wall. This is Stamp and Lukic. Caught napping slightly. The handling was not as clean and as safe as he would have liked, but he got a vital touch to kick it away from the on-rushing Middlesbrough players. Well struck by Stamp. It was a skimmer. Whelan. Adams struggling to get there. Well, this is good stuff from Middlesbrough. The header came from Phil Stamp, and it's been a high-octane start from the side that supposedly are in the mire at the moment. Alistair's header off the line, and then Lukic fully tested by Phil Stamp. Certainly anxious looking Arsene Wenger. The first 10 minutes have belonged to Middlesbrough. Cooper. Adams. Parlour. Cleverly slipped away from Cooper. Now Bergkamp. Open ground ahead of him. Fleming got a foot to it. Somerville too. Still the danger is evident. And Bergkamp across the face. Persistence as much as anything else from Bergkamp. Angle was tight. Keogh. Parlour. He's made a diagonal run. Pallister has come to meet him. Parlour is in the centre, so is Bergkamp. Henry's too quick for them. And the only thing that was lacking was a more measured finish from Ray Parlour. An indication there of the way to get in behind Middlesbrough. Just use the pace of Henry, because the likes of Vickers and Pallister are not that quick. Dean. Hemmed in by Silvino. Corner kick. Vickers amongst those who've gone forward. Lukic with a punch. Oh, and Stamp took it away from Somerville. If Stamp had left it and let Somerville have a clean strike, then Middlesbrough would have been in with a chance. Lukic was under fairly heavy pressure, and Somerville was just setting himself when Stamp arrived immediately in front of him. Club matters occupying the mind of Arsenal's David Dein at the end of a week in which he's helped to select the new England manager. Oh, Vickers let it run, and a clear chance for Ljungberg, brought down by Crossley. Now, what will the referee's attitude be about Mark Crossley? There was a covering defender, Gary Pallister, inside the 6-yard box, but he's got his head in his hands because I think he's expecting a red card to be produced for Mark Crossley. Ljungberg was through and in on goal. Had Crossley not brought him down, then he would have been presented with a clear goal-scoring opportunity. And Middlesbrough, who've already fielded 4 goalkeepers this season, now have to field a 5th. Well, the rules are clear. It's all about the denial of a goal-scoring opportunity. Vickers made the mistake. Ljungberg was able to take the ball around Mark Crossley, who clearly brought him down with what was almost a rugby tackle. Had Ljungberg been allowed to go on, then surely he would have had a clear shot on goal, and so Crossley can have few complaints. Middlesbrough down to 10 men in one of the most important games that they've played under Brian Robson. There is a ready-made replacement in Marlon Beresford, and Rickard has been withdrawn. So Beresford, new to the action, faces Thierry Henry. And Beresford's first act will be to retrieve the ball from the back of the net. Thierry Henry scoring for the 9th time this season, but the first time outside the capital. His last penalty against Shakhtar Donetsk was saved. That one sent the goalkeeper in the opposite direction. Maybe the wrong phrase to use in this of all weeks, but he must be feeling that it never rains, it just pours. Bergkamp. Vieira. Henry. That struck Vickers. And what Middlesbrough's defenders were doing, standing in a line with their arms raised asking for offside, is a matter for the coaching staff to sort out. 5 sent forward, including Adams, for Ljungberg's kick. Keown. And Adams denied a second time by Marlon Beresford, for whom there's a little pat on the back from the Arsenal skipper. The brave block, the second one. Just seemed that initially he'd got his foot movements wrong, Beresford. Had to readjust to stretch and then to form the barrier. First appearance of the season for Marlon Beresford. And another good save. This time to deny Grimaudy. It's a rare chance to impress. His only game last season was a 4-0 home defeat by Aston Villa. Keown. No leverage or purchase on the header. The end of a passage of heavy Arsenal pressure, during which Marlon Beresford really excelled himself. Not once, not twice, but thrice. Somerville. Parlour. Henry. Middlesbrough will be willing the half-time whistle to go. And their wish has been fulfilled by referee Andy D'Urso, who caused Marlon Beresford to be called into the fray. Mark Crossley dismissed for denying a clear goal-scoring opportunity to Freddie Ljungberg. Thierry Henry converting the penalty. And that moment, the turning point of a first half that Middlesbrough started brightly, but finished in rather sad fashion. Half-time at the Riverside. Middlesbrough 0, Arsenal 1. If the second half unfolds as the first finished, it could be an uncomfortable experience for Middlesbrough. 2 seasons ago they were given a real chasing, Arsenal winning 6-1. And one does feel for the home side, because they started this game so positively and then were so obviously deflated by the sending off and the concession of the penalty. Confidence anyway is at a low ebb and injuries are biting deep. Makes this a desperately difficult situation. Oh, a mess by Lukic. A horrible mess. His athleticism remains, but his kicking skills seem to have diminished, and Phil Stamp was nearly able to take advantage. The oldest kicker in town is not a convincing one. Somerville. Stamp. Dean. That's a little better. Not radically better, but a little. 2 men struggling against the opposition of different sorts. Oh, what was that from Noel Whelan? This is Henry. He'll be disappointed. But Whelan, in the background there, would have been pretty devastated if that had led to a goal, because it was the most lackadaisical piece of play. No need for it, no reason for it. And how often have we seen Henry curl those inside the post? Dean. Somerville. Curtis Fleming. Blocked by Ljungberg. Silvino. Crowd doing everything they possibly can to support Middlesbrough, but there's danger here with Bergkamp. Henry with time to turn. Middlesbrough were guilty of missing good early chances in this game. They were punished by Henry's penalty, and now Arsenal are in similar vein. Henry twice now. Profligate in front of goal. Will Arsenal regret it? Wonderful support. Grimaudy. Parlour spinning away from Whelan. Ljungberg. two over on this near side. One of them is Henry, who's wasted two chances, and now a third. And that looked to be out of play, but it's play on, and it required the block. And still it's within bounds. Middlesbrough feel that the ball was over the goal line. Henry. And that definitely was out of play. No question about the second occasion, but what about the first? It came off the shin of Henry. That looked to me to be out. Whole of the ball over the whole of the line, and Henry should not have had a second bite at it. There's Parla. Raimondi. And no flag. Chance for Henry to finish matters. Off the post. Applause for the delivery. And a couple of inches the other way, and there would have been applause for the way in which he finished it off. Not the best appearances by Beresford. Lauren. Parler's begun his run. Here's Ljungberg. Oh, and the mistake by Beresford. Lucky to get away with it. Henry then unable to follow it in. He seemed to be brought down by the goalkeeper. Well, that would have sealed the game. It should, in truth, have been sealed many minutes ago. So many chances did Arsenal waste. But there, the man described by his chairman, Steve Gibson, Brian Robson, as the diamond in the club's crown. Well, both crown and diamond seem very tarnished thanks to Thierry Henry's penalty winner. And that, remarkably, was the only goal of a game of many, many opportunities. What next for Middlesbrough? Worryingly for them, as the inquests begin, it's a trip to Old Trafford in 7 days' time. Full time at the Riverside today, Middlesbrough 0, Arsenal 1.
Brian, as a neutral, the turning point seemed to be the penalty incident. Is that your view as well?
It definitely is. You know, because I thought we started the game really well. We put a fair bit of pressure on Arsenal. We were closing them down well. But we had a bit of slackness at the back, and we gave the ball away and allowed them to get in. Well, I still thought that our covering defender was getting round, and yeah, it was a penalty from where I saw. But I think Abukin was sufficient, you know, because I do think that Mark Crossley wasn't the last man at the time that Lundberg was connected.
I believe that Middlesbrough had a very committed spirit today, never gave up, and I must say, even in the second half, they pushed us sometimes back, and they gave everything tonight, and if they can keep going like that, they'll get out of the trouble zone quickly.
I've got 100% backing from the chairman. I have no intentions of quitting on the job. I think it showed today that my players are well behind me, and if my players play like that, then I know the fans are behind us.
Clarify one other thing for me, Brian. Obviously you have a horrendous injury list at the moment. There were also suggestions in one or two of the morning papers that you might look for some help on the coaching front, and even the name of Terry Venables was mentioned. What is the situation?
Well, I know that, you know, the media, they just write anything they want, and this came about last season when we had a bad run at the Christmas period. You know that I was going to bring somebody in, or I should resign. You know, so the press will write it. As soon as you're in a bad run, people get the knife sharpened and they stick it in your back. But all I'm going to do is just get on with the job, and I'm sure that will turn it round at the club.
So it's not true?
No, it's not true.
Well, he seems to have put that straight, and he does appear to have the full backing of his chairman, Steve Gibson.
Ah, great chairman, but a lot of the time it's not the chairman that sacks the manager, it's the crowd, and if results are going against you, and results are everything in modern day football, then there's always going to be speculation. But it's not only up to Brian and his coaching staff, it's up to the players that go on the pitch in a Middlesbrough shirt to turn it round. And if they show the spirit and commitment that they showed today for 90 minutes, as Arsene Wenger says, then they'll have a chance to get out of trouble.
The turning point in that game did appear to be that, not just the penalty, I mean, there didn't seem to be any doubt whether it's a penalty or not, but whether he should have been sent off.
Well, ultimately it's a grey area. Sometimes they get sent off, sometimes they don't. I think it's an English disease that defenders aren't comfortable in possession. If you watch here, people will say that it's Pallister's fault. I think it's Vickers' fault at the top of the picture. If you watch his head, don't watch the ball, just watch Vickers' head. First of all, he's looking here to see who's running about him. Just a little turn there. Then Pallister turns. Pallister's the one that's comfortable in possession. Then Vickers again turns his head. I think the ball's perfect into him, but he just mistimes it. Lundberg comes in, gets in and goal. I think Crosley comes out too quick, commits himself. I think if he stands up there, Lundberg goes past him. Look where the ball's going. And as Brian Robson says, Pallister's getting back in the line. Next week you'll see that again, and the goalkeeper won't be sent off.
I think the rule says denying a clear goal-scoring opportunity,
yeah.
but not necessarily whether you got someone on the line or not.
Well, sometimes that won't get sent off. You'll see the same incident next week, and the goalkeeper won't get sent off.
Constant inconsistency.
Yeah.
Now, Borough were playing so well before that sending off as well.
They started very positively, and you're playing against Arsenal. It's always going to be difficult against Arsenal. Great defence, but Seaman's injured. They've got Big John Luckett come and go. He played last week, clean sheet. Didn't convince me at all today, right from the word go. And it's ironic, he never really had 2 or 3 saves to make. This is about 3 minutes into the match. Free kick, fumbles it, he does well to get rid of it, and you think, well, if they put him under pressure, then he's going to be in trouble. Comes out here, punches it, but straight down. It's a good chance, and eventually clear it. His kicking was absolutely abysmal all afternoon, it really was. Watch this, this is a lob wedge up in the air. You know, and as I say, if they get him under pressure, and then the next one, when it's passed back to him, well, mind you, he's nearly 40, so we'll let him off. I mean, I think that...
He's kept a blank sheet, I mean, the poor fella. He's thinking he's going to have a nice evening, you just put him away.
Not at all.
Now, what about the bloke at the other end of the pitch? I must admit, I love watching Thierry Henry play, and as a defender, though, you wouldn't have fancied playing against him.
Oh, yeah, terrific playing. His pace, movement, touch, control. Well, we pick up the first clip here when Pallister goes tight on him. A great movement. He's at the top of the screen. He comes across. Now Pallister, who's been a great player, he comes close to him. Henry just absolutely decimates him with pace. Goes right past him by line, picks up Pal, a great ball, should have scored. So this is the old pro Pallister this time. You watch him not going even close to him. Just going back in a straight line. On you go, do whatever you want. And that's when defenders are scared of pace. And again, when he picks it up here, you know, how do you play against this? With great difficulty, just skips away, and then to pick out Parlour again, that's absolutely fantastic. And I tell you what, he's improved every aspect of his game. The turn here, the control, and the pass, picks up Bergkamp, assistant referee gives it offside, never offside. Great pass, great player.
I don't know, John. Thierry Henry misses about 4 sitters and gets loads of praise, and poor old John Lukic, clean sheet, and gets mullered. Gerald Sinstadt working overtime today. The top 2 are now 5 points clear and show no signs of slipping up. Manchester United have won 4 league games in a row, while Arsenal are unbeaten in 11. If you fancy a bit of value, how about Leicester at 250 to 1 for the title? Liverpool are next, with Newcastle up to 5th and Ipswich dropping to 6th. Spurs move into the top half of the table. Derby play West Ham on Monday. A win would move them above Bradford, who've scored just 5 goals in 12 games. Middlesbrough complete the bottom 3 after their 4th league defeat in a row. They're at Manchester United next week. The only side in the bottom half to win today was Southampton, who move up 4 places. Now we've got the October Goal of the Month competition for you. No changes. Select your top 3.